Meeting to order.
Welcome to Nixa City Hall. This video is going to provide you with an overview of how the City of Nixa conducts City Council meetings. We encourage everyone to attend and participate in City Council meetings. This is part of how democracy works at the local level, listening to the perspectives of subject matter experts, city residents, and other community members helps our elected leaders make more informed decisions. Before we start the meeting, let's review some of Council's rules of order. These rules help us make sure our meetings are orderly and efficient, while protecting the ability of everyone to have an opportunity to speak. Please be respectful of the person speaking and hold your own comments until it is your turn to speak. Presenters are invited by the council to provide information during the meeting to the council. These are informational presentations only, and nothing will be voted on at the time of the presentation. Presenters are not time limited. There are two times when all other visitors will be able to speak to council. The first is during the visitors section of the agenda, and the second is during any public hearing regarding an agenda item. During the visitors section, anyone may speak to council about any topic, whereas the public hearings regarding specific agenda items allow you to make comments for council to consider before they make a decision on that topic. Whether you wish to speak during any public hearing or the visitors section, the following rules of order will apply. 1. Only one person should speak at a time. Be respectful of the person speaking and wait to speak until it is your turn. 2. Anyone speaking must do so from the podium and speak into the microphone. 3. You must first state your name and provide your address in writing to the city clerk before beginning your comments. 4. All speakers will be given 5 minutes to make their comments to the council. The mayor or council may have additional questions for speakers after this 5-minute period. 5. All comments should be addressed to the mayor and council. 6. If you have questions about existing city processes, programs, or policies, or if you need assistance from staff on any issue, please contact City Hall during normal business hours and we'll be happy to assist you or answer any questions you may have at that time. The public hearing is designed to provide the public an opportunity to provide testimony and information to the mayor and council regarding the decisions they may be considering. Keep in mind this meeting will be recorded and live streamed with video and audio. Therefore, all comments relevant to this meeting must be spoken into a microphone, otherwise video viewers will not be able to hear you. In the case of a closed session or technical difficulties, some meetings or portions of meetings may not actually be recorded or streamed. The use of cell phones during council meetings is discouraged, so please silence all devices now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for engaging with the City of Nixa. The meeting will begin shortly. Welcome to Nixa City Hall. This video is
Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Would any member of council like to remove anything from the consent agenda? If none, I will accept the motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Lucas, second by Ms. Graham. Roll call, please.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris.
Yes.
All right, first up is service awards. Jesse Brooks, 5 years with the police department.
Mayor, Council, Jesse's not with us tonight, but I will take an opportunity to say some nice things about him. Currently, he is a patrol corporal on our operations side of the house. Jesse came to us with a little bit of experience, and so we were grateful to have him and have that experience in our department as he's moved forward. He's done a great job for us over the several years that he's been with us. You may recognize his name. Last year, I believe he received a 40 Under 40 award for some of the work he's done with his own personal business, which is local as well. And so we're looking forward to many more years of Corporal Brooks' service with the department.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on. I believe this will be Jennifer.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. We have just a few updates for you regarding the budget draft. And what you have before you is just a condensed version of the dashboard. And then the second sheet is the detail of each category broken down. So I thought that might be easier than the big giant sheet. So I will just highlight some of the changes that we've made since the last time we talked about the budget. In the changes to revenue, we went ahead and reduced the amount we have projected for sales tax revenue. If you looked at your report that's in the packet tonight, we are sitting right at 2.66% over last year. So we reduced our projected sales tax revenue from 4% over actuals to 2% over actuals. So we reduced that revenue line. With sales tax being so volatile, it's just a little bit, iffy to sort of shoot for the moon. We want to make sure we're being very conservative, so that's what we've done. And then in the revenue line, also the interfund services transfers were adjusted to reflect personnel changes. A lot of the interfund transfer costs are associated with personnel figures, and so with the addition of some positions and the salary compensation survey results, that changed that number just a little bit. So that's changes to revenue. For changes to expense, in the personnel column, we did add in the position request from the law department for an assistant attorney. That's an additional cost of $87,587.50. That's salary plus benefits, all of the costs associated with that personnel request. And then in operations, we did add in $40,000 for videographer services to the communication budget. And then other operational expenses, a computer here and there for the additional positions that were discussed at the last budget meeting. In the debt column, we added in an additional $538,325, and that is the amount that's needed in addition to what we already had budgeted for the regular payment to go ahead and pay off the PVC lease. That's the debt we owe on the existing police and City Hall remodel debt service. So that is callable at this time, and so if we pay that off and get that off the books, then we can move forward with our new police building. And then again, the transfers had to be adjusted for the personnel additions. And then in the capital line, we had a little bit firmer numbers than we did at the previous meeting to talk about the City Hall remodel. So this next slide has the different options, and then City Administrator Lyles is going to talk to you about each of those choices and what they mean.
Before we get to the actual cost of the packages, just so we understand what we're talking about, if Macy or Drew could go ahead and bring up that PDF. They're going to bring up the PDF of the design of the remodel and the changes that we're looking at if we were to move forward with remodeling City Hall. And just to remind the mayor and council that this remodel is to do a couple of things. One, or several things actually. One is to accommodate utility billing within City Hall so that we can ultimately demo the current utility billing to make room for the new police department over that location. And also, the other thing that we've done is because we are growing and staff is growing, quite honestly, we're out of space. We're just out of office space. We have no place to put employees currently. And then you'll see, lastly, you'll see some work there on the council chambers that we're in now. And that was something that was requested by council for us to at least look at and consider. And that way we can accommodate the public because there's been many times, obviously we're not packed out tonight, but there's been many times that we have been packed out, especially on hot button topics, and we've had citizens have to stand, sit on the floor, you name it. So we want to make it more accommodating, more welcoming, and try to get more people involved in municipal government. So that was the basis behind why we were looking at this remodel. And if you look at that, you can see up there on, I know it's I'm orientating myself here, so if you up is north. So if you look on the west end, that's going to be where we're looking at putting utility billing. Everything in red is what is currently there, so that will be going away. So we'll be adding a At that far west entrance, we'll be adding a desk with some safety glass and that kind of thing for people when they come in and provide better security for our employees within our building as well. And then more toward the middle, we've done some remodel there to accommodate the additional personnel with a larger break room because we just don't have that type of space to accommodate additional employees in our city halls. I think as a matter of fact, poor Jennifer's department has a closet maybe for a break room, I think. It's probably the best way to describe that. So if you've ever been down there, you know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, there on the far east side, you'll see that the entranceway here is being remodeled, expanding the council chambers out to accommodate more space. We're potentially even looking at an opportunity to maybe to divide the council chambers up for more meeting space. You can do a movable, a wall that rolls out or what have you to make this more usable for more than just even council meetings. So, and then of course the conference room and some additional office space there as well. So, and then you'll see a price in there too for the front of the building. Drew, if you could scroll back up, or maybe see if you could see there the front look of the building. Is redoing some signage and some canopy work there so people know where the new entrance to City Hall would be located, because the new entrance with City Hall will be in the middle of the building instead of one far end. So there'll be an addition to the utility signage, City Hall, and then council chambers on the other end. And then on the back, you'll see the patio canopy. That's additional roof or canopy that for a smoking area that we currently don't have to accommodate for any of our employees. So that's the overall gist of that. So before I move back to the pricing, is there any questions or comments from the mayor or council? Okay. Drew, if you could go back, or Macy. So we divided that up into packages, and once they're able to get back up, you'll see that there's 3 packages and then some additional options that they priced out. So we did have them price that individually. Package 1 has about a 3-month schedule to complete, and that is going to be just the far west end of the building, just that area for utility billing to accommodate the customers and the staff at that end. Package 2 is the rest of the rest of the city hall, the conference room, the office space, everything up to the chambers. And then package 3 does the remodel for the council chambers and expands that out. So we did have them give us a cost estimate on all 3 of those different packages for discussion. And then the front canopies, you can see the cost there to redo the front of the building. And to add the canopies and the signage there on the front of that is about $304,000, and then the smoking canopy in the back is $63,000. The alternative of 1 is to replace some of our existing glass for our employees that is currently not bullet resistant, to replace that for more safety for our employees as well, and that's the $133,000. So altogether, I think we're about. I will mention, because I'm going to say a number, and it's going to be higher than that number. Altogether, we're about $2.2 million to do the whole thing, and because they did not include in these cost estimates the furniture here and also the design work or engineering that needs to take place. So we did get some estimates on those as well, but it brings the total cost a little over $2 million. So obviously the next question is that affordable, right? And how do we be able to afford that? So I do have Jennifer ran some numbers for me, and we can make this happen utilizing what's left over from ARPA funds, as well as in combination of we still have some money in the Parks Department that is going to go toward the pool repair. So we're not going to have to use as much of the ARPA funds as we first thought to handle the pool repair. So it's actually could clear up some additional funds there as well. So did I miss anything on that, Jennifer? No. Okay.
All of that is included in this budget. So if you want to take something out, then it will lower, your numbers on this sheet. So that leaves the final results in the general fund, the operations as a percentage of revenue at 98.31%, in streets 52.73%, electric 98.65%, water 80.09%, and wastewater 77.98%. And you can see that on your budget dashboard there.
And I'll just mention too, our goal was 98% in the general fund. So we're really close to that. We're about 98.3. Obviously, we can go back and look at that a little more if council would like, but we're pretty confident, you know, that adding those additional positions after we talked at the last council meeting did raise that up above that 98% mark. But we're pretty close.
And that's also based on lowering the expected revenue from sales tax and doesn't include what the PD will get,
Right.
kind of the offset of that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mayor. This does not include any of the funds coming in yet from the public safety tax, because again, we have started receiving, I think we got $100 and some
It
dollars
was like
actually.
173, I saw that. 74, yeah.
So we didn't want to
Like,
include that
sweet.
quite yet, till we get a
Don't
feel of
spend it
when
all
that
in one
money's
place,
going to
Joe.
start coming in and at what rate. So this does not include that. So at some point, as we mentioned last time, later in the year, we may be coming back to council for additional officers and that kind of thing once that revenue start coming in.
What does it look like if you, because currently we approved the 2 other officers that were hired. What does it look like with those being paid out of the law enforcement tax that's coming?
Oh, I got you. You know what? We could run those numbers. That would probably bring it back under 98%. at
Takes
that
care of
point.
the .31?
Yeah, easily, I think.
Okay. Fair enough. Any questions?
Yep, I think that was it. Oops. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's it.
stole your thunder there, sorry.
And then if there's any other comments or questions about not just what we talked about tonight, but anything else in the budget that you might have had an opportunity to look at, because we are running out of time. It's getting closer to the end of the year. So if there's any other comments or questions, please feel free to either let us know tonight or reach out and ask.
Anything else? Don't think so. And again, thank you all for everything. It's a lot of work.
Thank you, Jennifer, and her team. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. And all the staff. They all had a big hand in getting the budget done. So thank you to everyone.
I will say that of all of the trouble we've had with the conversion of the software, the budget process was great with the new software. So it's been really easy. So that's kudos for that.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Moving on to the visitor section.
Ron Sanders.
I was all prepared to go one direction, and at the last minute, I decided to change things, so bear with me here. What is a tomato? Well, I can tell you that the government has run roughshod on science for a long time, not just over the past few years, you know, with some of the stuff that we've seen. But I'm going to read you a little bit here. John Nix founded the John Nixon Company Fruit Commission in New York City in 1839. The company became one of the largest sellers of produce in New York City at the time and was one of the first companies to ship produce from Virginia, Florida, Bermuda, and New York to New York. In 1883, President Chester A. Arthur signed the Tariff Act of March 3, 1883, requiring a tax to be paid on imported vegetables, but not fruit. The John Nixon Company filed a suit against Edward L. Hedden, collector of the Port of New York, to recover his back duties paid under protest. They argued that the tariffs, by pointing out that botanically a tomato is a fruit due to its seed-bearing structure from the flowering part of a plant. Well, the government brought in a couple of expert witnesses, and they argued that under normal everyday usage, tomatoes are used more as a main course rather than a dessert. They also argued that if words have never acquired a special meaning in trade or commerce, then the ordinary meaning must be used by the court. So you can't just use the dictionary version, right? So they acknowledge that botanically tomatoes are classified as a fruit, but they're seen as vegetables because they are eaten as a main course. They also found, and this goes a little bit further than the tomato, that a bean is botanically a seed as well, but that's a vegetable also. I just wanted to bring up that point that, and John Nix lost. Even though a tomato is a fruit, according to our government, in order to tax it, it's a vegetable because they wanted to keep the tax money. So the power of the government is very profound. And as one other story that I told that prompted a couple phone calls, I hope that this one doesn't, it has a profound effect on people. So just a reminder, in other ways, not just what we talked about in the past, our government and everything that y'all do can have profound effects on the people that live here. So always keep that in the back of your mind whenever you're deciding to make these decisions. What second and third order effects are your decisions going to have on we the people? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Barbara Fleming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Barbara Fleming, 907 Yellowstone Street, Nixa, Parkmore Heights 4, 5, 6, and 7, which borders on Northview and Gregg. My concern is the apartments that are going to be built on the front side of Eagle Park, which borders on Parkmore 4, 5, 6, and 7. I know that this can't be changed now, but I think the city needs to take better consideration. That is all residential area. Sleepy Hollow is on the north, Eagle Park is on the west, Parkmore Heights is on the east. So you really need to consider when you are changing zoning. The homes around there are 400 to 600,000. I really don't want to see a 2-story apartment complex just across from me. I don't think it's the place. If it's Main Street, that's something else. But this is all residential. So I would really like an answer from council of why this was changed. Stu Stinger was the original developer of Eagle Park, and that property was planned to be single-story senior housing apartments. And now we're talking, I found out just this morning, a neighbor called me. We have an HOA. I am not on the board. I have been previously for 6 years. I'm on the pool committee. But why was that zoning changed? And what is the zoning for apartments versus residential? So I don't know if any of you can answer that. I spoke with Scott Godby this morning, Director of Planning and Zoning, and he said that a permit had been issued. How many buildings are we talking about? He couldn't answer. So when the city really needs to determine more information when they are issuing permits. So that's my concern, and I know you can't change it, but in the future, you really need to consider, are you considering the homeowners or outside money. So you need to realize that we are the taxpayers and we pay our taxes, we pay your salaries. So you need to really work for all of the citizens. So, so where can I get the answers?
So the first part of that, which is the when did they change? I believe when it was originally, and Scott, you may have to correct me on this, but because this was before my time, when it was originally zoned, it was zoned, that whole area was multifamily in that front and then moved towards single family. Is that correct? And then he sold, but it wasn't a PUD, so it doesn't matter if it was 55. If it's not a PUD, the age doesn't
Correct.
bear any weight on whoever buys it next, unless it was dead set. The number was set in a PUD, correct?
Correct. So it does predate me as well, but it was, when annexed into the city, that subdivision was split between single-family and multifamily. So at the time that that property was annexed in is when it received that R3 zoning designation, which that designation allows for multifamily uses, including 55 and up communities, whether it's single-story or all the way up to 35 foot, which is the maximum height now. It also includes the availability of just regular apartments. You may remember that this site had been submitted as part of MHDC funding for low-income tax housing credits for many, many years. They never received that funding, so the property owner at the time then sold the property to just the regular developers, which is now where we are today.
And then really to address the second part of your question, your timing is perfect, actually, because we are currently in the process of working on the comprehensive plan for the next 20 years. And so actually 23 years ago, almost 24 years ago, the committee put together their numbers and they decided that the current comp plan, which is what in place now, states that we should ensure that land available for high density doesn't exceed 20%. So that means the total amount of land in the entire city, there shouldn't be more than 20% of it available for multifamily, like apartments and duplexes and stuff like that. And currently, there is 9.1% is what's zoned. That's not what's built or even in the process of being built, but currently 9.1% of the available housing land is zoned for multifamily. So where I was going with that is if you would like to serve on the Comprehensive Planning Committee, let any of us or Mr. Lyles know, because anytime we can have your voice prior to a decision, that helps so much more. So feel free. We can, if you want, we can send you an email, because I think, is her email on there?
Email is not on there, phone number is not on there. Okay, do you want me to come around?
Go for it.
Okay, I have just one other thing.
Yeah.
And something else that will change that area. You know, there was a roundabout, a small one, on Gregg and Northview.
Yep.
People in Nixa really don't understand yield. That's a fact, and now you're making it bigger, because I know it can't accommodate buses. But still, how many buildings are you going to be putting up? And all that traffic, you're going to put Northview from Gregg over to Nicholas. So all that traffic and will be coming out of there, and it's going to be a nightmare. And also, it increased taxpayers' money by building one roundabout and enlarging it. So be careful with the taxpayers' money, okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Which lot is this again? Is this the one right there on the southwest corner?
Yeah, southwest corner of Northview and
With,
Gregg.
kind of has, does that have a retention pond close to it? Is it the 13 acres?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Okay. What's the, what's the density on that one?
I don't remember the particular dwelling unit count, but there will be 9 buildings. This wasn't discussed in our phone call earlier, but it's a question I could have answered at my desk because I have the plans on my desktop that I could easily answer that question if it was asked at that time.
Okay. We might, if you wouldn't mind, either get that to me and I can give her a call tomorrow and let her know, because I know that was part of the question. Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. Well, thank you all for taking the time. I will close the visitor section. All right, moving on to emergency ordinances tonight. First one, Council Bill 2023-46.
Emergency Council Bill Number 2023-46, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2023 annual budget to appropriate funds for engineering services related to the acquisition of a certain drainage easement and declaring an emergency pursuant to Section 3.11F of the City Charter. Presenting is City Attorney Nick Woodman.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm before you this evening to speak to Council Bill 2023-46, which, if approved, would appropriate funding from the budget for some litigation defense purposes. So, as you all are aware, the city is currently involved in litigation regarding the validity of a public drainage easement. This has to do with Riverton Park subdivision. The city, to this date, has attempted to acquire this easement voluntarily based on an appraisal that we obtained from our contract appraisal firm. So far, the city's offer has been rejected. At this point, staff is beginning the process of exploring the condemnation process for this easement, but we require engineering services to start and complete the condemnation process. We've reached out to our contract engineering firm, Olson & Associates. We received an estimate for the cost of the work. And if approved, this bill would appropriate funds for the city to engage Olson & Associates to complete this engineering work. Staff is requesting that this item be approved as an emergency measure as the appropriation relates to the defense of ongoing litigation and the engineering services are necessary components to completing that process. And time is of the essence with this request, as the sooner the engineer can complete this work, the sooner the city can begin to secure the easement. Staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer questions that the council may have about this item.
Any questions from council?
Where's this one located?
Do what?
Where's this one located at?
The
North Street?
mhm.
That's one of the 2 neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
No questions? Thank you, Mr. Woodman.
Thank you.
There are no questions from council. I will open up the public hearing if you would like to speak on this matter. None. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
First by Mr. Ogden, second by Mr. Vess. Roll call, please.
John Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Zern Vess,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. Moving on to Council Bill 2023-47.
Emergency Council Bill Number 2023-47, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending Section 107-103 of the Nixa City Code for the purpose of updating the city's regulations related to floodplain management and declaring an emergency pursuant to Section 3.11F of the City Charter. Presenting is Planning and Development Director Scott Gabi.
Mayor, council, good evening. You may remember at the last city council meeting, we approved a large update to our floodplain management ordinance. In that ordinance, we inadvertently struck out, either way, the beginnings of a section related to floodway management. The specific wording that we struck out was the community shall prohibit any encroachments. When providing the approved document to the state NFIP coordinator, she made it known that that would make our entire update non-compliant with FEMA regulations. Our to backtrack a little bit, the draft document of that ordinance, all of our proposed language changes was provided to the state NFIP coordinator ahead of time of full adoption. We did not receive any comments back at that time, so this was all kind of new when she mentioned this after we had already adopted it. The reason why this kind of is an emergency is that we needed to get these proposed languages to FEMA before the effective date of the new firm panels, which is November 2nd, which we couldn't hit the 2-meeting requirement for this ordinance. If we do not get this to them in time for approval before that effective date, the residents of Nixa that do have flood insurance, they will not be able to renew their policies. Any new residents that want to get flood insurance, they would not be able to because we will technically be suspended out of the program. So in order to comply with FEMA regulations and to keep the flood insurance program active, staff would recommend that this gets approved tonight. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Godby. If there are no other questions, I will open up the public hearing if you would like to speak on this. And I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept a motion.
So made.
Second. First by Mr. Lucas, second by Mr. Peterson. Roll call, please.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, now non-emergency. Moving on to second reading, Council Bill 2023-45.
Second reading Council Bill number 2023-45, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending several sections of the Nixa City Code for the purpose of consolidating and modifying provisions related to city fees. Presenting is City Attorney Nick Woodman.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. City Council conducted a first reading of Council Bill 2023-04 at its October 10th, 2023 regular meeting. The bill is now before you for second reading and approval. By way of reminder, this bill, if approved, would consolidate all of the city's various user fees into one section of the city code. The theory behind this is it would establish a more convenient location for people to reference the city's charged user fees. And in the future, if we were to engage in a fee study to determine what kind of fee changes might need to be made, instead of scattering about the entire code to find those fees, it would all be in one location. Because of those reasons and a few others that are articulated in the memo, staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have on this item.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Woodman, and thank you again for working so hard to clean up the code. It's greatly appreciated. All right, I will open up the public hearing if you'd like to speak on this. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept the motion.
We'll make the motion.
Second.
First by Mr. Ogden, second by Ms. Morris. Roll call, please.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson.
Yes.
Finally, moving on to resolutions. Resolution number 2023-52.
Resolution number 2023-52, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to solicit proposals for new SCADA infrastructure at city water well sites. Presenting is Assistant Public Works Director Travis Cossey.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For your consideration this evening is a resolution to authorize staff to post an RFP for replacement of our existing SCADA system for the Water Quality Department. The current need for this system, and I should start off that this project was included in this year's budget as a CIP for the replacement of our existing SCADA system, which has a twofold purpose. One is to replace our existing SCADA system for the Nixa proper system, which is the 9 wells and 8 towers in the core of Nixa prior to the purchase of the RDE and Tuscany Hill system. That existing system has become old and antiquated and completely unsupported as a software package. Currently, it is on the wrong side of 20 years old. I say that because we don't exactly know the exact moment when it was installed, but we know it was over 20 years ago. So, and it has become completely unsupported. We are unable to get any upgrades to the system, which is the second part of my process, is the addition of the Tuscany Hills and RDE system, which includes 3 wells and 3 tower sites that are currently unmonitored by any SCADA system. We are unable to apply our existing SCADA system to that new infrastructure because of its inability to be upgraded and supported. So the new system will be a system that is new hardware, software, and network infrastructure necessary to monitor and control all 12 well sites and all 11 towers in the system, which includes everything inside the existing city limits, as well as those systems on the RDE and Tuscany Hill system. So this upgrade is a complicated system. Because of that, we did enlist the services of Olson and Associates to design specs and hardware upgrade design plans for all the well and tower sites to ensure that we got comparable proposals from companies, so that we were comparing apples to apples with the proposals that we received from potential bidders on the project. So for your consideration is a resolution to post that RFP, which would have a posting date of tomorrow morning, if approved, with a mandatory pre-bid meeting from all proposed bidders with our contracted engineers on November 9th, and final proposals to be submitted by December 5th.
Have you gotten to see any of the new software that's out there compared to the Windows XP system that we have?
Yes. We did a lot of research and we did a lot of visiting with some of the communities out there, and it's enlightening what we will be able to do versus what we're not able to do right now. And I should have started off with this, and I apologize. I should break down to the core of what a SCADA system is. I know for most of you, it's not a word used in normal dinner conversation. So SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, which boiled down is a monitoring and control system for all of our well and tower sites. It allows staff to not only see on a computer system what is happening during the entire system, it allows us a level of control, which we can control the flow, the pressure, the level of water in the towers, as well as our chemical distribution, our chlorine and fluoride, throughout the entire system. What we're asking for in our scope of services is not only the ability to monitor these systems, we're wanting to upgrade our ability to control those systems. We'll be able to control them from not only desktops at our existing facilities, but in the field by authorized administrators. It'll include alarm systems. It'll identify anomalies in the system, so we can find potential problems before they actually become an issue. In other words, it will identify areas of town where we have pressure issues that could be producing a leak in an area, where we can find a leak before it actually bubbles up to the surface by zeroing in on a specific area. And these are systems, whenever we went and visited neighboring communities that have some upgraded SCADA systems, we were amazed with what they're able to do with their systems that we're not able to do with our existing. So we're excited for the opportunity to get a new system and better monitor and control the entire water system, not only inside Nixa city limits, but in the 2 areas that we have recently purchased.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Cossey.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I will open up the public hearing. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept a motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Peterson, second by Ms. Graham. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And motion passes. Anything else from staff?
I have one thing. We have our Halloween spectacular Friday night, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Macaulay Park on the fields just behind the X Center.
Perfect, perfect.
Thank you.
Creep at the crossroads, too.
Oh, and congratulations to Nixa. We yet again beat Ozark at the backyard brawl, not just at the football game, but also with the fundraiser with Least of These. I think over 86,000 pounds of food was donated to Least of These here in Christian County, which is amazing. And I get to keep my giant wrestling belt, which I'm pretty happy about. I like that thing. And then the football game, it was 51-7. So it wasn't a close one, but it was fun.
Then, Mayor, I will mention, just did think of something. Tomorrow night, State of the Community.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I think you better be.
Yeah.
We're planning on it.
Perfect. Anything else from staff or council?
This Saturday, we have our prescription drug take-back event, the fall one, at CVS Pharmacy from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So any unused or expired medications, we'll take all of those. We just can't take any needles or inhalers. Also, the Veterans Day ceremony will be on November 4th this year instead of the 11th. And so just want to make mention of that as well. It's 9 a.m., I believe.
Yep, at the park.
At the X Center.
The X Center.
Yeah. Perfect.
Isn't Creeping at the Crossroads this weekend also?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it into the microphone.
What?
You got the details on it, Darlene?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just know it's downtown.
Yeah, I think downtown on Main Street, creeping at the crossroads. I'm not sure the details on that. I believe it's
I think it's
The
4
downtown-
four.
4 p.m. to
Yep.
10 p.m.
Gonna have
I
lots of
think.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Beer garden, entertainment, candy, I'm sure. Do you have something?
Don't forget, the city is giving away 1,000-yard flags to honor our veterans. Anybody in the city limits can come by the X Center and pick up 2 of the little yard flags to stick in their yard to honor our veterans this year.
Awesome.
I forgot to get mine.
All right. Nothing else? Mr. Peterson?
I move that City Council go into closed session under Section 610-021-1, 3, and 13 of RSMO. I also move that this closed session, records related thereto, and any votes taken by council during this session shall be closed under Section 610-021 of RSMO, and that the City Council shall stand adjourned after the closed session.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucas. Roll call, please.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.